hard work, good strategies, persistence, dedication, and input from others. Where focus goes, energy flows. So focus your energy on continuous learning and stop wasting time thinking about looking smart. Build resistance, build vulnerability, build courageousness, and face adversity with a smile. Become comfortable with uncomfortable. You know, the only person that you need to prove anything to is you. Imperfect action trumps perfect inaction. Stop wasting time and get on with it. Failure is part of learning, so start learning by taking action. Simone, Lord, oh hi. Well, you're going to introduce me. Go for it.
I am. This is supposed to be my hot seat. I'm still not comfortable with giving the reins over to you, but welcome. It is Wednesday. We are back for the Business Life Hot Seat. Now, you are holding all the controls of internet. We have discovered that my regional internet and my children on devices were causing quite a bit of disruption to our live broadcast. So you now, Mr. Lavolsi, have all of the controls of Ecamm, and I'm really struggling with this.
And so you should, because I get to do really cool stuff like
Yay!
I love being annoying. It's so cool.
And you are in one of those moods today, so I'll be interested to see where this call goes. Now, we are here to drop some value bombs and share and inspire to our audience and our viewers. And today we wanted to talk all about reinventing your business. So we put up a poll on your LinkedIn the other week, and we asked business owners if they spend time reinventing their business. And 86% of people commented yes, that they do. So let's jump into the first question that I have for you today, Kristian, and that is, as a business owner, should you allocate time to think about how you can change and adapt your business? Is that something?
Okay, so yes, indeed, the timer just started, and I'm about to tell you. Okay, yes, you should always allocate time to change, and I don't like the word change. I like to use the word transform, right? So it's our duty as business owners to constantly be looking for transformation. But I'm not talking about transforming what's not broken, right? It's really about being innovative and having an entrepreneurial mindset. Adapting, you know, if you've got an entrepreneurial mindset, a growth mindset, you'll always be looking to adapt. And adaptability is one of the most important forgotten skills of leadership. And that is because, we just went through a thing called COVID, where, you know, they shut down the entire world. And obviously, you know, people had to adapt. And the people that didn't adapt, they didn't die, but their businesses
adapt or die.
Yeah, but you know, we've got a lot of companies now liquidating that have been zombie companies because the taxpayer funded all these people to buy new televisions in their homes instead of adapting to their new business environments and growing their businesses. You know, JobKeeper, in my opinion, was a freaking disaster, and we are now dealing with the consequences of that with 7-8% inflation, and it is what it is. But as business owners, we still got to adapt to that. We've got to adapt to the rising interest rates now, and commercial loans are getting harder. I mean, I'm on a board. I chair 5 independent boards, and we're trying to raise capital at the moment to build new facilities for manufacturing, and banks are coming in with valuations that are 30% lower than last year's market price, and it's like, mate, are you joking? Like, how on earth are you coming up with these valuations? And it's because it's serving them. Banks are out there trying to make super profits, and clearly $2 to $3 billion a quarter is insufficient to keep their shareholders happy. Mind you, I'm a shareholder, so I'm not sure what I'm complaining about.
Yeah. Well, it is certainly an interesting time, isn't it? But whenever I speak to anyone, especially from like my parents' generation, all I hear is this is nothing. When they were our age, they were dealing with 18%. So we've just got to ride the wave, right? That's kind of what it's like in business and life. So that
Absolutely.
kind of leads into my second question, and you did touch on this a little bit in your first question. I'm actually really fearing the more you work out on all these settings, it's going to turn into
I'm
very
trying to work out why my camera is confused
like,
about where I am.
yeah,
Sorry.
doing an autofocus type thing.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Oh, you're back. There
there,
you go.
stay there. I'm not
Yeah.
going to move.
Don't move. All right. So my question for you, my second question for you today is, what are your thoughts on the saying, don't fix what isn't broken when it comes to changing things inside your business? Now, you did just talk about this a little bit, but let's dive into this a little bit deeper. Like, what does that really mean? Should we be looking to adapt and change things that are working? Because sometimes we get stagnant in the same processes or the same thing. We're doing the same shit over and over again. Or is it, if it works, then don't touch it. Let it go.
Okay, so it's interesting. I obviously don't know the questions that you're going to ask me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Look, as business owners, we get bored quickly because we're in that business doing the repetitive tasks over and over again. Anything that's repeatable or can be done more than once should be automated. So that's what I mean about adapting in your business and automating. But I had this conversation with someone today, which was, why are you trying to change your copy, your ads, like on a monthly basis, right? Like if it's working, right, just because you're bored of it, if the actual data hasn't changed, why are you stuffing around with it? You know me, that's not the words I used, but clearly there was a few F's in there.
We'll keep it PG today.
And I'm trying to keep it G rated, but you already used the S word. So it's on you. But the thing is, I sat back and I was like, what? I mean, we have as business owners, we have a propensity to want new. And that's why I said it's not about change, it's about transformation. If you've got, if your system is working, is generating new leads, it's making you money, what are you doing messing with it? And I'll never forget a guy by the name of Jeff Bickerton who wrote some of my first ever ads that won a whole bunch of awards for radio, promoting one of my businesses. And I actually said to him after 18 months, man, I'm so sick of hearing this ad. He goes, it's won all these awards. It's brilliant. Your business is booming and everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
What more do you want? Like, why do you want to change it? We didn't change it for 5.5 years. That's how effective it was.
Wow.
For 5.5 years. I mean, this ad made us probably $7 or $8 million worth of sales. So you kind of go, and that's when I first learned that you just don't change things for the sake of changing them.
Yeah. Okay. So I know the timer went, but let's just flip the switch on that a little bit. What about when it's not working? Like, how long should you kind of wait before you go, you know what, something needs to change? Now, I know you've talked to us about only changing one thing at a time before, but how long do you really leave it before you go, all right, something's got to give?
It depends. Look, Simone, that's a tough question because it really depends on the medium you're using. Like if we're talking about operational systems, you need to entrench them for a period of time, right? Habits take 6 to 8 weeks. So if they're people related, you can't chop and change. If they're marketing related and you're using, say, Facebook ads or you're using Google AdWords, then you've got a lot of data available at your fingertips. You could potentially change things within 7 to 10 days if something is not working. In fact, you can change it even sooner. But, Facebook have now introduced this learning phase, which sometimes the thing could be in learning for a week, right? And not getting you anything because sometimes we narrow the market size that we want too short, and Facebook clearly doesn't want you to make way too much money, so they call it the learning phase to screw you around for a bit. But again, I say to people, those platforms, you have zero control. They keep telling us that you have more control than you've ever had before, but the reality is we have no control. They could
Yeah.
turn off the whole thing tomorrow, and all the money that you've invested on your digital media assets is gone. And that's what we still say, that email is still king.
Yeah.
And in the US, they're trying to change the email laws. Again, I would argue, and this is a conspiracy theory that I'm making up. Let me be very clear. It wouldn't surprise me if the people that are lobbying against electronic digital marketing are actually the big social networks, because they don't want people to have control outside of their platforms. Now, that is a huge outlandish statement, and I have made it up. So let's be really clear before someone decides that I'm creating a stir. But the thing is, you've got to ask yourself those questions. And all I'm saying to you as our listeners, our loyal, dedicated listeners of two people, that's you and I, Simone. But the reality of it is, we've got to find ways to take control. And phone numbers, email addresses is still the key way of owning the data yourself and having control. But we also have done a lot of research. People give you the wrong phone number, they give you the wrong email address, they're using an email address that they never check. So it's getting harder and harder for businesses in the market, but also that is all part of adapting.
Yeah. It's the challenge.
I think I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. You did. Thank you. All right, let's move on. Question 3. Now, we talk about this term moonshot thinking, and I actually don't know how popular of a term this is, if our audience will know what that is. But my question for you, my third and final question for today, is who should be involved with the moonshot thinking for the future direction of your business? Like, what level of your teams do you have involved in coming up with new ideas or adaptions and those types of things?
Everyone in your organization should be involved in moonshot thinking, because the whole idea is to create an inclusive environment where people feel comfortable with bringing things to the forefront of the organization. And moonshot thinking is also around solving complex problems, not just creating wonderful opportunities for us to dream about and aim for the moon. So I'm a big believer that everybody should be involved in the development, the vision of the company, because then they also own it. And the other thing is, someone like me who's an independent chairman of a whole bunch of companies, I don't have an operational view of those organizations. So I can set the culture of the company, I can set the strategy of that company, but the people in the trenches need to own it. Without them owning it, there's no way that a board can, impact the transformation required for being a growth firm growing 25% year on year. But above all that too, those people that are at the coalface, they're the ones that know how to solve the problems. Too many people look to leaders and say, you have to have all the answers. I mean, I'm one of those leaders that has a lot of answers because I'm an advisor, but I actually have a lot of answers because I go down into the trenches and have conversations with people. Even as chairman of boards, you find me in the manufacturing sheds in sort of high vis, walking around having a conversation with people. In whether it's the paint shop or whether it's the welding yards or whether it's the assembly lines. If it's at the hospital, I'll ask the clinicians and the doctors questions about patient care and why, because I have a genuine interest in those businesses. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to gather the pulse. Now, you won't find a lot of chairmen in organizations going to do that, but I love it. I'm a business owner and I'm also a director of companies, and I know how to discharge my fiduciary duties. But I also like to still get in there and meet the people. I mean, for example, big publicly owned companies, directors are so disconnected. To me, I think a lot of directors, when you get a new role, should spend a whole day, if not more than 2 or 3 days, getting to know the company, how it operates, the heartbeat of the company, so you can you can make better risk assessments and provide better governance advice. But that's one end of the spectrum. But even if you're a business of 5 or 6 people, I mean, if you're let's say you're a founder and you're the tech head, you don't know what your customers are thinking unless you're having that conversation with them. But your salesperson will tell you whether or not you're in alignment with what your customers need. So everybody should be involved in moonshot thinking, and more importantly, as an owner of a business, as a leader, always check in with your people. Always check in with your people.
Yeah, such an important message. It really is. And we also know that the more collaboration that you have with your teams, the more invested they are into the vision and mission and purpose of your organization, and they will really come along that journey with the business owner as well, which is super important. Well, Kristian and Rachel, another episode of The Hot Seat. Can you believe we're at week 34? We've actually been nearly doing this Hot Seat series for over 6 months now.
Wow. I think we need people to just tell us whether or not they want to keep listening to it. So you got to drop a comment because, as you know, 20 minutes of my time these days is very hard to find. And if we're not providing value, then I don't know why we should do it. There's been a streaming error. Streaming to Kristian Lavolsi LinkedIn stopped because of an error. Do you want to end the broadcast or continue without Kristian Lavolsi? Well, I don't want to end the broadcast. I'm going to continue without myself. That's wonderful, Ecamm. You guys, congratulations,
Now, you are super busy, but we have our retreat coming up in 2 weeks, and this is what is absolutely filling my days at the moment, getting everything ready. Now, this is only our closed community, so this isn't open to the public. This is only people who are already working with you, Kristian, or in one of our programs, one of our community programs, and we are super pumped. We're all coming to you this time. You're not traveling for a little while, for 2 weeks. We're all coming to you in the Adelaide Hills. I can't wait. It's going to be an awesome weekend.
Yeah, look, it's pretty cool actually. We've got about 25% of our clients coming, which is good considering we only decided last minute to invite the wider community to the Momentum Weekend. Something we might do each year, and we'll wait and see. But no, it is really exciting. My family are pretty happy that I'm not having to travel, especially now that I changed my travel plans for next week. Hi, Blake. There's Blake, our resident DJ.
Yes.
So Simone bribes Blake with an iPad, if you haven't noticed, just so she can get a spare 17 minutes and 32 seconds. But look, it's really exciting time, Simone, and we've got a wonderful, vibrant team culture. We've got incredible clients. Like I always say it. I pinch myself how blessed we are. We've had some of my one-on-one advisory clients have been with me now 5 years, and it's something that I'm really proud of in terms of being able to be on that journey with them, achieving, doing, but also watching 40-year-old family businesses that I've now been a part of for 3 or 4 years, and watching them grow and flourish, and when people go away on leave and they're like, "Thank you," I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Well, you've helped us get me to a point where I can take 6 weeks off and not have to worry, and the worst part is I missed you." And I'm like, "Oh my God, no, I don't need more people missing me." No, but it's really wonderful, and I feel so blessed, and I think that's a really important thing, is to have an abundance of gratitude in your life if you want to do it. But look, Simone, I actually have to go, so I'm going to put the outro video on. Thank you, everybody. Bless you all. And here is a message from Adrian. Please listen to it, because it's pretty cool.
Working with Kristian is a game changer. Hi, I'm Adrian Lee from GrowthLink Coaching and Consulting. I started working with Kristian in August 2020 as his LinkedIn growth consultant. We worked together on his LinkedIn brand for about 12 months, before becoming business partners in Growth Outsourced late 2021. Kristian is a hidden genius. He helped me break through a significant financial target by restructuring my growth consulting online business offer. I don't know of any one person who can give you so much focus, clarity, and structure to live your purpose and get shit done. He holds you accountable to your words and gives you the tough love when you need it. I love his no BS approach to business and life. Everyone needs a Kristian Lavolsi in their life. Do whatever you have to work with Kristian. This is just the beginning for us, and I am super pumped to continue growing together. Thanks again, Kristian.